Okay, so I'm going to start. I'm recording as of right now. I have 5 different brushes here. I think you should have at least some of these. You may have more of an oval brush. Actually, we're pausing it. There we go. Oh, we're recording now. I need you to add some water to, let's see, a couple colors. All you're doing is adding water to your colors. So these are the colors we're going to be using to make brush strokes and how to practice making our brush strokes. So you're just adding water. I like this blue a lot. I like mixing my orange and my red. Those are my favorites. I also like mixing yellow and green because they're fun to make pretty colors. So I have a blue. I like mixing my orange and my red. And I like mixing yellow and green. Now, if you have your little tray where you can do your mixing on, that would be a great, we can also use that too. I seem to have lost mine, like I always do. All right. What? Because I'm awesome. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, still adding lots of water, I'm going to use my smallest brush, my tiniest brush, and we can hold these really close to the tip, really close, and I use my thumb on top, and everybody kind of tends to have a comfort zone with their paintbrush. I don't even think about how I'm going to sit here and wait until I have people not on their phones, paying attention, looking up, holding a brush, attending to this. So look at how you hold your brush. Are you holding it close to the tip? Some people like to hold it far out. If you hold it close to the tip, sometimes you push really hard. If you hold it very far out, you can get a really light touch, but you may not have very much control. So think about how hard you're pushing. The biggest thing with watercolor is, and I'm going to push this over and over again, is hold and barely touch the paper. When you hold your brush and you barely touch the paper, you don't want to hold down on your paper with your brush. You don't want to push over and over again. You want to barely touch your paper, barely, especially when it's wet. So, I'm going to use my first color, my blue. Now, I oftentimes will take whatever color it is, and I will touch another surface before my paper, just to see how much paint is on my brush. I might add more water to it. Now, I'm going to work on making a fine line. I can make a fine line with it really tight, really close, and see how I do that. I'll move my brushes out of the way. And see how thin of a line I can make. Does that help? Now, that's with my brush really tight. Oh, I could turn the light on. There we go. So, you can see how I'm holding the brush really tight. Yes? I could turn my camera and put you on the screen. Which brush am I using? Now, the second line I want you to make is I want you to pull your hand back. I got to pull back out a little bit on my screen. There we go. And I want you to try to make the same line all the way back. Same color. Put that up here. So my one right below it, I'm going back tight again, and I'm going to try to make a straight line, barely touching. Oops, I had a little drop of water. Now, if you're so lucky that you have one of these blue pens, you can, or brushes, you can use this to do the same thing. You may get a finer line with it. These are the finest ones I think I have. And you can keep practicing. This is how you get better. So there's 3 different brush holds. Now the next one I want you to practice with, you may have one of the 2 of these. These are round brushes. You may have a 2 or a 5. Yes. Do you guys see these? These are round. No matter what direction you turn them, they're going to look exactly the same. Well, look around for a round brush. When you get your brush pack, you're going to have a round brush in it. Now this one is usually the most versatile brush that you have. You can do a lot of things with this. So we're going to switch up and we'll do our blue again, but this is our moderately broad marks. So I'm going to get my brush wet. Add some more water to my blue. I like to hold my brush kind of in the middle. Some people, I would rather you not hold your brush super tight on a middle-sized brush. I'd rather, see how the brush kind of swells a little bit right here? Do you guys see how your brush swells? Can you guys feel that? See how it gets bigger? I usually hold it right under that. That is the natural place you should hold your brush. I'm going to keep adding a little more water. It's not going to hurt because it's watercolor, lots of water. And your paintbrush should hold water and paint. So about 45 degrees, so when I hold my brush, it should be at a slightly bit of an angle, and it should be a slight bit of an angle to my paper. And then I half press it to the paper, and I just drag it across. And the paint will follow the water. I should just press it down a little bit. Do another one. See how the paint follows the water? You should not push your brush all the way to the paper. It should only be half pressed. So if I did it sideways, I'm going to try to do it. It should only be, I'm going to turn it sideways. Woo! If I can do it, it should only be pressed about halfway. Can you guys see that? That's about how much it should be pressed onto the paper. Can everybody see? See how my brush is pressed? That's all that you should press. You should never really press that much more except for one time, and I'm going to show you that one time. So we all see this. We all take a mental picture of how much we should press. If we press harder than this, we tear our paper. I'll do one more for good practice. And it should be that quick. It should be just that smooth. Alright, that's our medium, that's our round. So now, you have some fun. Now you got that big wash brush, right? This will hold a lot of water and a lot of paint. So we need to get it wet, we need a lot of water, and we just need a little tiny bit of paint. So we got that blue already soaked with a bunch of paint and water. So I put water in this, and I just barely touch the paint with it. This brush is going to soak up a bunch of paint in it. So I'm going to get it wet, I'm going to soak up a little, oh, you know what? I took it out of the picture. You can't see what I'm doing. So I'm just soaking up a little bit of paint in my brush, but it's already wet. I'm soaking up a little paint. See how there's paint soaking up into the brush? You can see it going up into the bristles. This is how your brush loads paint. So now I can take and in the same way, I only press a little bit into the paper, barely touching it, and I go across. That's what my mark should look like. Does your mark look like that? Well, make another one. Add water. We got to make sure that we're holding our brush right where it starts to swell on the handle. We load just a little bit of paint. Our brush should be wet with clean water. And when we press, we're only pressing a little bit, and then we sweep. That's a good mark. Now, clean your brush out really good, the same brush. We're going to put just water in it. We're going to make that same sweep with just water. One sweep. Are we ready? We got to pay attention to where it is. One sweep with just water. One sweep. I'm going to set it down. I'm going to go find that round brush I just had. My round brush. Well, I'm going to pull out a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. Alright. Got my round brush. Getting water in it. Can you see the water right here? No? Okay. I wet my brush. I'm going to go get some paint in it. See how the paint's soaking up into the brush? I don't know if you can't really tell that much with it. Now, on the left side, I'm just going to touch it to the water. Without rubbing the paper, I'm adding clean water. Am I brushing it over? Okay. Now, I just tipped it. You guys see what I'm doing? Did I brush it over, or did I just touch the side, add a little water to it? That's what I want you to do. Okay, so I'm recording now. We're going to use my round brush. I'm going to use, oh my goodness, I'm going to use red and orange. I got blue mixed into it, so I have to clean it out real quick. Oh, it's so gross. Hold on. It's looking rough. Got a really nice brown going. Alright, so you can make different strokes by holding a brush different ways. So at my bottom of my sheet here, you can do wherever you want, just use the same color. Now, before I said I don't want you to press all the way down with your brush, but there are times where you can't. If you hold your brush directly up, you can make a really fine line. If you hold your brush at an angle, you can get a medium stroke. If you hold your brush at an angle and you press harder, you can get a wide stroke. And then if you press your brush all the way down but put your thumb in it, you can get kind of this fan look. Okay? And if it's dry, you can get a dry brush look. So we're going to do 4 different strokes. First one's going to be a really fine line. I think it works better when your paint is really opaque. Okay, so my first one, straight up and down. Straight up and down. You can't see it very well. Fine line. See, now this is my wide brush, the same one I did here, but I got it almost as thin as this. And that's only because I barely touched the paper and I kept it at a straight up and down, 90-degree angle. Now, I'm going to be at a 45-degree angle. Now I can also do where I go from thin to thick. Now if I use a very dry brush, I can kind of... There we go, that's a little bit better. Uh-oh, sorry. I like it when you just have barely any paint on it and you can do feathering. You can see that more paint is like this, less paint. You can get it to almost a very light touch, but it usually takes me a while to get there. So try to make different strokes with the same brush and see what you can come up with. If you have a brush that's more like this, I think the feathering is easier. I think it's easier to feather like that, but that's just me. You guys have any questions? We have about 5 minutes to the bell. I want to make sure you rinse all your brushes. I want to make sure that I get my big wash brushes back because I am like really particular about them right now. Here, I have a place for you to put them. Maybe. We'll put the big oval wash brushes in here. Rinse all your brushes out good. Dunk your water. Turn in your ovals to me. Rinse them out first. Brush out the brush. Oh, no. Good job, guys. Put them in your bin. Thank you guys. Nice job following along. Oh my goodness gracious. Quiet. One bucket into the other. Thank you. For all those that make their faces that are maybe not the ones you take home with you, I use them to put brushes in. Really. Don't throw away. Yes. Appreciate it. Take a picture. I don't know, Patrick, give it to me. Does anybody else have surveys for me? I would love them. I want to read them. Okay. We're going to give them back. I would love to give them back to you. I just want to read them and see them. Sometimes my phone and iPad do not cooperate with me. Yes, please. Thank you. Well, technically, I could go over there and look and see who did the assignment today, and that could be a good attention. See? I'm still recording.